Hello. Hi. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Now, today's topic is continuing with what our interview last week. So for people that had an opportunity to look at our last week's interview with our in-house migration lawyer, then you'll understand we actually started discovering and discuss through a very short conversation. We've discovered and discussed about different ways that you can migrate to Australia. And then we also identified that apart from business migration, then there are options like skill migration, and there are also other options like guardian visa. This is a disclaimer. So some of the numbers that in case study that we're going to talk about today are maybe or most likely is not your own personal situation. So all the things that we discuss here are quite general, but that's why we will always suggest that you are contacting us, then you will be getting a personalized portfolio or personalized consultation about your situation. Okay, now I think number one we need to look at is, and we did talk about there's few phases to look at from for education. I guess for the first thing, we'll put it into three different sectors, and we get one understanding, and then we square that away. We start introducing the other topic, and so the first thing I like to really look at is tuition fee, because everyone asks that too. Now, tuition fee that depends on the student's age. From year 1 to year 12, you see sort of 25 to 35,000 Australian dollars per year. A university bachelor degree, it's about 20 to 45,000 a year, and then master and PhD degree is about 22 to 50,000 Australian dollars a year. I'm just going to give out some examples. So for example, University of Sydney, it's about 36 to 57. University of Queensland is about 25 to 46. Queensland is still cheaper as compared to in terms of tuition, and then we're gonna also after tuition, as what I mentioned, we will then roll into talking about the cost of living and also accommodation. Now here actually says, now medicine, a lot of people are asking about medicine as a profession in the future. Now medicine program usually costs slightly more, so you could easily go up to about 60,000 per year. So that's that. Now, for our viewers here, because from last week interview that we have done, we have a lot of inquiries, and most inquiry we've got throughout the last week is mainly high school students. So I pull out this whole information sheets here. It's like a little cheat sheet. It's not all the school here, but just understanding for our relevance today, maybe looking at the right-hand corner, the last two columns, you've got St. Hilda's School. It's a girls' school. It's a private girls' school. It's from pre-prep to year 12. And then obviously the right-hand corner column is the Southport School. People local here would just call it the TSS, much easier that way. It's also pre-prep to year 12, and it's for boys. Now, as you can see, the younger the kids, or the younger the kids, the tuition is cheaper. The more senior the kids have become, obvious, there's more curriculum, there's more specialties of facilities and also teacher they need to prepare. So the more expensive the tuition fee becomes. Now, both of the school, whether it was the St. Hilda's or TSS school, they both have boarding options, but you can see here the girls' school is starting from year 7, whereas the boys' school start from year 6, and the boys start from year 7. Cost-wise, is about 20 to 24,000. Now, this table is changing because the school starts just for this year, just happened just this week. So we will be updating as soon as we got all the schools' fees and charges, and we will be updating our data here. Now, the financial requirements. So the government here in Australia actually have a requirement. So if you're a student just coming along by yourself, or you're a guardian, so you're the parents or for the student, so each of the person, just together with the visa, you have to be able to show an evidence of $21,000 of saving. And then plus, if you have a partner coming with you, there's additional 7,000. If you have a child coming with you that are not sort of at schooling age yet, but that's $3,000. So as you can understand here that why do they come up with all these numbers, and what does living expenses actually cover? We're going to go through that. But on this point, I just want to mention though, with the guardian visa. So if your kids are under 18 and one of the parents wants to come and look after the kids, it's very simple. So the kids, we consult with the parents and with the kids about what is a school that's suitable for your kid. And once we identify the school, we apply for the school. And once the school actually accepted your kids' enrollment, you will be issued this confirmation of enrollment. From there onwards, then we apply for a visa, student visa. Now, whatever that student visa duration is, or let's say the course for the student to study is, then the guardian visa will be almost the same length as them. So, and it's so something that I also need to mention is it's a multiple entry. So you can, during that period of time, you can leave Australia, you can go back to your country to visit your family. And then if one of your let's say your partner, let's say the husband was still working overseas, they still can use a visitor's visa to come to Australia. Now, pre-COVID, I remember most of the country have a 3-month visa to come in. So this is something that's quite flexible and easy this is a very easy sort of program and achievable and doable. Now let's move on to where does government got all these living costs come from, and what does it really cover? Now, obviously, everyone's different. You have a different standard of living. So you could be on the more economical end, or you could be a more luxury end. It doesn't matter, but you got to have a number. So we're looking at living costs, meaning groceries, gas, electricity, phone, public transport, entertainment, things like that. So altogether, it's any student could easily spend like 15,000 to 28,000, and some students are more, some students are less, but these are sort of the mediums of that you're looking at. Now, if you had to say, okay, which major city should we go to? There's a little bar graph here that shows you about each of, so on the left-hand side, all these numbers are per month. Let's say if we break it up, and then the whole bar to the end, sort of, so with Sydney, it's about 22,000. So you're really looking at per annum, it's going really up there to almost 30,000. And then for Melbourne and for Brisbane. So as you can see, like, it may not be a big difference for 1 month, but then once it's sort of mounting up for the whole year, it is like a $5,000 to $7,000 different when you're choosing different cities. And on and beyond that, if your students are coming, your kids are coming, not just, obviously they're not here to study for 1 year. So usually they study for 5 or 7 or sometimes even longer together with a university degree. So over a 10-year space, it's quite a fair bit of money that you could save right here. Okay, now, so that was all living costs, right? We all talked about that. We talked about tuition. We've spoken about living cost. Then how about accommodation? What percentage does that really go to? But then a lot of people also always ask me, apart from living on a campus, university, boarding school, homestays, there must be other options. Yes, they are. So we often hear people saying that, oh, I'm in university, I'm sharing a room with another friends, and then we got maybe a 2-bedroom apartment, we all share each other. Now that was fantastic. That's called a share rental. So it can be very economical, but then I think everything sort of depends on your child's or the kid's personality in a way. Whether it's suitable or not. Now, the second option, obviously, is most expensive, is pretty much where the parent is saying, well, basically, why don't you, obviously, you have to be over 18, right? So then why don't you then go out and then you just rent? You basically rent a unit or for yourself, and you don't share with people. So that's much more luxury sort of consideration, but considering there's no distraction of other kids also studying and living in the same place, it's not a bad choice, but then the cost of itself could mounting up. Now let's have a look. So internationally, there is, so the government has already said this, internationally, the total annual international student expenses per year is roughly around about 65 to 75,000 per annum. Now, we think that we've just went through this in quite extensive, right? So we think that tuition fee will easily be like 35,000. That's about 40 to 45% of this whole annual cost. So what does it left us? That's another 55 to 60%. And what are they? They're living and accommodation. Now, I think in terms of proportion right there will be more that needs to be paid on accommodation and then slightly less for the cost of living. So we now all know living and plus accommodation cost is almost the same or sometimes higher than the tuition fee. So what is it that we could do that to look at what cases that, right, whether how we could save this money, or let's say we're going to spend the same amount of money, how can we best utilize this, and then at the same time maybe having a chance where the family can relocate to Australia, have a new start. Right, so we've got this Lim family here as a case study. So Mr. and Mrs. Lim are both over 45 years old. They've got two kids, Jenny and Jason. Now, Jenny is about 8 years old. So for Australia curriculum here, we start from January. So we start every new year starts, not new year, every new year level starts from January. Yeah. So Jenny will be going to year 3 this year. Jason's 11 years old. He will be going into year 6. So the takeaway here from this case is both Mr. and Mrs. Lim, although the Mr. Lim could be eligible for a skill migration because he's an IT professional as an occupation, but both of them are over 45 years old. So we've talked about this in our interview last week. If you have missed that and you're watching this from the app, feel free to go into the program replay so you can look at it from the app. If you missed it from last week and you're watching it from the Facebook now, then obviously you can look at the post that we have the live also on the Facebook group last week. Okay, cool. Now, what I've done is I've done two options. So option A is assuming that Jenny and Jason comes by themselves as a student. Mom and dad stays back home and work. And then they're all basically purely on accommodations point of view, they will be either homestay because Jenny is too young. Just use St. Hilda School as an example. So she's too young. So basically with $17,000 per year for those 3 years in homestay, it's about $51,000. Now, from year 6 to year 12, she will be boarding. So the average of $22,000 per annum is about $154,000. And then when she goes on the university, considering she might live on campus and slightly cheaper, so it's about 10 grand per year. So that's 40,000. Just Jenny, one kid alone, accommodation for her education journey will be 245,000. Now, when you have Jason is slightly older when he gets here. So obviously, from year 6 to year 12 is the same as Jenny, and then let's assuming on campus is slightly cheaper. So Jason will be 194,000. Now, if you put two together, collectively, they are spending, and this is a pure cost. It's not a tuition fee where kids are learning things and this become like an invisible asset of their own for their life. This is 439,000 Australian dollars in expenses just to find accommodations for kids. This is excluding tuition and living costs. So how can we go about that? So if you want to plus your tuition fee and living costs onto it, like easily, I feel everyone's sitting there going, oh my God, I didn't realize how expensive, one kid will cost me. And no, you know what? I think this is all doable. And if the scenario is, but if we look at it the other way, so option B is, which a lot of people have already starting to do this, is that if they purchase a property here in Australia, and just trying to save this accommodation cost, right? So what I've done here is let's assuming the property costs 585,000, and the stamp duty as settlement is about 59, and this is a one-off cost. It's not ongoing. Now I'm assuming that if our viewer are thinking, oh, I just don't have, or I don't want to put all the cash out to purchase a property now. I want to save some money in the pocket for now, then I understand. So I've done this case that is slightly more complex where I used 50% as in assuming borrowing from the bank. So let's say 50% borrowing from the bank. So so then the upfront cash that parents need to look at is 351,000. So that's including that stamp duty, obviously. Now, then the annual cost ongoing will be, so you've got the interest on the loan, you've got the principal you need to pay on the property, you've got the body corporate fees, and then the council rate. So all these expenses add up to be about $27,000. Yeah. So what we just looked at before in our previous few slides is that if you are to to stay here, so 27,000, that's approximately one person's boarding cost. But then if you are doing this, you're spending one person's boarding cost and you're supporting this whole property and then you're saving the other boarding cost. So the idea for this is the longer the kids are studying here in Australia, the more benefit you will see for option B, right? Now, because option 1 and option B, what are the difference? A lot of people might think, well, option 1 seemingly is easier to start because the upfront cost is lesser, but then option B have much more long-term uptake. So for example, you will be owning a freehold property in Australia. Now, in a lot of Asian countries or globally, there's a lot of places or a lot of countries where you are still owning a leasehold property. Yeah, 99 years or whatever long that is, seemingly is enough for yourself. But if you're looking at, having something for generations to come to pass on, you know how we're always talking about, this lovely watch coming from a granddad, passing on from generation. Well, that leasehold with 99 years or 129 years, it's not going to stick. Now, freehold, you can. Now, then the second benefit is the overall saving are really bigger. So the longer the kids are studying, the more saving you're going to get from owning a property of your own, because the outgoing for the property is going to eventually reduce to very insignificant. Why? Because you keep on paying down the loan. So what we just saw, the number is assuming that's the first few years of the expenses. Number 3, the kids are staying. So for our case study here, Mr. and Mrs. Lim, both of the kids going to be here for a long time. So it's not just a 4-year journey, it's actually a 10-year journey, and for Jenny could be longer. So really the capital growth of the property is already earning you the money like invisibly. Now with the capital growth, what can you do with that? You can refinance, you can do a lot of things. Now, even if you say, well, what is my fallback plan? Well, my kids finish school now and I don't think, and then they're moving overseas and to back home to work. So you can easily turn this property into investment and then let the capital growth keep on going. Or another scenario is you literally have a route, like a place to stay in Australia. So through this whole 10-year journey, even longer for Jenny, think about this. Your kids will be finishing their education, finding a job, potentially even married. So when they find a job, they've got income, they want to move out. So this property that has been there supporting their education for that long, then the capital growth, parents would like to help kids. We can even consider refinance the capital a little bit and then give it to them as a down payment to buy their own place. So just from one thing, they could actually solve a lot of the issue and actually a lot of add-on benefits. And obviously something that I didn't write down here is the guardian visa. Through the student study, one of the parents could actually be in Australia. Now, if the kids are here and they found a job, they're turning to a working visa, and then they seemingly, it's another way of them doing a skill migrant for themselves. Then once they become citizen here because you're their parents, most likely the chances they will then support you and then apply for you as a parents to come officially. Obviously, through the journey, you may not even need to leave. Right. Now, a lot of people will say, but when you talk about the capital growth, does the property actually growing in Australia? We heard that it's not a quick rich scheme. It is correct, but on this graph you can see though, doesn't matter what color is the line is, whether it's a Brisbane house or Gold Coast house or Gold Coast unit. It does not matter what, but from 1999 to 2009, see the graph that property went from anywhere in the 200,000 ish, it went over to less than 600,000. So that definitely doubled. And then if you look at another 10 years from 2009 to 2019, it may not have doubled, but at least it gone up by 50%. So what does that really mean? Is that if you purchase a property at 500,000 with only 15% capital growth, you already earn 75,000. Now with 50% capital growth, you earn 250,000. Now, the longer the kids actually stays here, or let's say you leave this property here, the bigger the capital growth that will be. And imagining if this is what happened, that's what I was talking about, refinancing. And honestly, the tuition fee, or maybe half the tuition fee, or both the tuition fee will be earned from the property already. So just understand the uptake. Now, a lot of people say, oh, but then if I purchase something now, but my kids is not coming to study just yet, we're just going to applying for something. And then we probably need a little time to sort out our business overseas. And then one of us will move here with kids. Obviously, this property can be investment first. Nothing's going to stop you to put it into a rental market, to start earning some rental income. Now, if that's a scenario with the same property, your rental income are expected to be about $30,000 a year. Now, minus the property management fee, the body corporate fee, the council rate. So the total cost per annum is about $9,000. So your net income is about $21,000. Now, well, maybe there's a little bit other insurance and things and bits and pieces in the pay. But ultimately, the minimum you're going to get in your pocket should be about 18,000. Yeah. So 18,000 from our previous slide, when we've just started our conversation today, we will see, and we have noticed that, really that will be a good money to be saved aside for living cost. Remember the average of the living cost. So before the kids are coming to study, this money are sitting on Australian account as a rental income and save as a pot that people comes and then they can start relocating, and it's like a relocating fund. It's actually a very flexible situation of investment / education / it's like a preparation for migration for generations to come and stay in Australia. Now, often that property, let's say projects, that discussion will be a different topic, but I often get people DM me and said that, well, you've done, now I understand the concept, but I really want to see if you got any recommendation that are nearby school. So what we have done today is focusing, so today is all focusing on, and even the school that we've discussed is all Gold Coast. So this is a project that are different to a lot of other ones that are probably more big onto the walk to the beach, more of a retirement living or investment pitch. This particular one that you see, it's so you got 3 stages, and we're kind of looking only stage 1. So it's cheaper to get in with a lot of room to grow. You will see the shopping center downstairs. The second stage also have offices, and then ultimately when the whole precinct is finished, there will be 2 hotels. The brilliant part about this is the network and the proximity to all the brilliant schools. So you could see here, you're not far from the beach as well, and you are actually in the CBD, Central Business District of Gold Coast. You are 5-minute drive or 3-minute drive to boys' school and 3-minute drive to St. Hilda's school. So it's actually very close to everything. Now, as what I mentioned before, Regal Residence on the bottom is what we are looking at today. The second stage is the tallest building, is called the Majesty. The last stage is called Monarch, and it's that whole golden building. Obviously, as the stages progresses with the retail and shopping center all started to activate, the last stage of apartment will be super luxury, and price and everything will definitely reflect that. So for anyone that are looking at, I think want to invest and at the same time my kids need to study, I need to stay somewhere anyway, I think Regal Residence will be a fantastic entry point. All right, now we could see from Regal Residence in this picture, so all this gold color on the top level are hotel rooms. The apartments that we're looking at that are bigger with balconies and more roomier are the blue color ones. And just to give you an idea, all these pictures, so we all know, like Gold Coast is so renowned for their beautiful sky, blue ocean, all these white sand. We've got water, SeaWorld. We have the Marina Mirage, and then we also have, I don't know how many Versace hotel internationally there is, but there's certainly only one in Australia, and it's definitely in Southport. So all these pictures that you see are all surrounding in this the proximity of our project that we are looking at today. All right, speaking of all these pictures, so how far exactly are they? Let's put in the whole framework and see. Now every light blue color circle is 500 meters, so you can see just like within 1.5 kilometers, that's already the Southport School. So it's really coming out from the project, from where you live, and then you turn left, and it's one straight line driving, like super easy. and you will get to with probably about less than 10 minutes, you will get to the Southport School. And then obviously you come out and then you turn to the right, and then just up the hill a little bit, less than, I think about 5 minutes, you get to St. Hilda's School. Now, if you wanted to, and your kids are slightly older, they probably will consider TAFE, Queensland, Southport, or maybe University. Now, University, well, the easiest to get there is walk up the hill, and then you see like all these blue little dots like a train. They are light rail. Now, we are only 2 stations away from Griffith University. Now, we did talk about Versace Hotel. So if you have a look about that whole circle at 1.5 kilometers, you will see Versace Hotel, Sheraton Hotel. You see the whole Marina Mirage. You also see SeaWorld around about 2 kilometers away. Now, shopping center wise, you are actually so spoiled with Australia Fair Shopping Center. We also have few corner but big shopping centers for you just on Ferry Road, up and down the road. Now, just to give you an idea about Griffith University and how big they are, you'll be able to see from this picture on the left hand bottom corner. Now, the light rail station that we hop onto is called Nerang Street. So as the map you can see, you go to Nerang Street, you hop onto the light rail. In 2 stations, you're already at Griffith University, and then the 3rd station is the Gold Coast University Hospital, both private and public as well. So it's the biggest hospital on the Gold Coast. Right. I think in the last sort of 5 minutes, I'd like to use this time to show everyone a little bit of the render of how this project look like. But in saying this, I want to say is that there's not going to be enough time today to talk about the project alone, because we don't really have enough time to go into the depth of looking at the investment in property the way I usually looked at it with government infrastructure. Where are where are the investments going, and then what are the value next door to me as compared to another suburb, all these of things that we will schedule another time, and we will deliver these as well on the app and also on the Facebook as well. But just probably make sure you have click on the notification button so that you are always knowing that we are hosting a live show or live seminar. Right, this is the lobby, just the artist version of the lobby. You can see the reception and the lobby bar. This is actually the rooftop. It's a residence lounge. You can book this area to host birthday parties and things like that. Now, on the rooftop, apart from the resident lounge that we just mentioned, there is sauna and steam room and gym and roof terrace and pool deck and all this sinking bar area. And then I really love this infinity pool. For people that are asking about all these ocean views, I think ocean view are fantastic in the morning, but it's really nothing to see at nighttime. But this beautiful view is it's great because you see the horizon, you also see the canal, and then in between you see all these beautiful houses on the canal and also all these high rises. And imagine at nighttime when the light lit up, it's just beautiful. These are the sunken lounge. The floor plan for this project is so simple. Everything is all sort of small square looking. It's much easier for us to orientate our furnitures and easier to decorate our house as such. Just to give you an idea, at level 2, this is a 2-bedroom apartment, and it's about 95 square meter with 1 car park, and the purchase price here is 555,000 Australian dollars. And as you can see the separation in the bedroom, and look at the size of that bedroom. It's very roomy, and I think it's easy as an investment to lease out to someone will rent it. And I think as what we mentioned before, kids coming to study, especially Mr. and Mrs. Lim, this will be fantastic for them as well. I can see them living here for some time. If you want to go to a little extra mile to have the water view, this is my pick. I love this property. I love this floor plan. Why? Because you can see here, it's actually a 2-bedroom plus the extra study. Study is not a study desk. It's actually a big room. It's a room. And the size of the room will be easy to fit into a single bed if need be, or one of those study where you've got the, like a bench to study and you've got a flip down bed. So this will be, easy for Mr. and Mrs. Lim, because eventually the boys and girls will grow up and mom probably, they're all separating rooms. And the size was 102 square meter with 1 car park. And this one is and does look into the water. Now for like, again, referring to Mr. and Mrs. Lim, this is actually their pick. They look at the 3-bedroom and realizing, the amount of time they're going to stay there for the years to come, and the proximity, because everything is just very close. They can imagine the kids grow up here with their schooling, high school, and then going into university or, TAFE. So it's all going to be happening here. So for the longevity of the stay, a 3-bedroom is their pick. And look at the size, 122 square meter. It comes 2 car parks, and this one's on level 6, and obviously got that wonderful water view as well. Just to give you an idea about what water view is looking like, obviously you don't, as what I mentioned, it's not right onto the beach. You're not going to get like just the horizon, the beautiful blue sky. But I think this is beautiful. This is an artist's impression from the living room. And you can also see from the bedroom. So you can see the horizon in the background. And then you do actually have 2 choices of color. This is just a typical example of what the kitchen will look like, apart from the furniture that doesn't come and the fridge that doesn't come. Everything else you see on this picture will come, or not the wines. And then this is dark color. These are the bathroom. Now it's floor to ceiling tile, which I love. And you see the tiles in the shower. This is a feature tile. This is not an extra option. It's a standard for our project, for this project. And this is light and blue and dark color. All right, now we're almost at the end now. So if you have some questions that you'd like to ask, I would suggest that you actually start doing that on our chat room. Sorry, I'm just, it dropped out. Okay, great. Now, we did mention about Guardian Visa. So the process is quite simple. But again, I think every kid is different, and we shouldn't do this like a cookie cutter. This is a concept of how this can be done and who you should be speaking to and what's the best time to start. And we always hear people say this, the best time is not yesterday, or it's yesterday, it's not tomorrow, it's today. So basically, the whole thing starts with the consultation and assessment about the kids, and then we choose the school that are with the longer view of what's more suitable for your kids, and we would give you an estimate about the cost of the services, and obviously we will proceed on the basis where everyone's happy with, and then seeing how this is all happening, and this also includes a extra part with property as well, because then we will select based on the school. For example, this will be perfect for all these school. Then we will put it in a bundle package that are with the special rates for yourself. A little bit about our company. We talked a lot about education today, and obviously last we'll talk about migration. And today we also talk a little bit about property investment, but not in depth. And understanding all these we're much more bigger into consulting with yourself and understanding where you wanted to be and where you are at the moment and how to bridging to get there. And obviously when you are from overseas, and then when international travel resumes and family is starting to relocate here, a lot of people saying, oh, but I don't have relatives there. The reality is we can't have relatives everywhere or in the world. So we are here to help, and that also forms part of our service as well. So you do actually have local support. We also look into your taxation and compliance situation and all the risk that you might get into. So it's a sort of one-stop shop and consultation for you. At the same time now, if you also think today's live is also quite beneficial for your friends, please feel free to share this live stream on the Facebook. All right, well, thank you so much for joining us today and on a Saturday afternoon. We're really happy to see you here, and I'm hoping to see you again. Bye.